Han Li withdrew his gaze from Immortal Lord Hot Flame's cave abode, and his brows furrowed slightly as he flew out of the valley as a streak of azure light. While hovering in midair, he took a glance in the direction of Jade Gathering City, but instead of flying in that direction, he chose to fly southward instead. While there were teleportation arrays in Jade Gathering City that led to other cities, the circumstances in the city were very complicated, and he would have to use his Fireleaf Sect Elder Badge to access those teleportation arrays, something that Immortal Lord Hotflame had just explicitly told him not to do. He actually didn't have any concrete plans from here onward. He was just going to go somewhere secluded to avoid the unrest in the Floating Cloud Mountain Range. Then, create a temporary cave abode and continue to try and find ways to expel the baleful chi in his body. At the moment, there was unrest across the entire true immortal realm, and Han Li had no idea how long the conflict between the Heavenly Court and the Reincarnation Palace had been raging for, but it was clearly only becoming more and more intense. He was nothing more but a mere golden immortal, and while he could dominate his fellow golden immortals in battle and even ensure self-preservation against normal high zenith cultivators, he was still far too powerless to play any significant role in this conflict. The only plausible plan from here onward was to try and make a breakthrough to the high zenith stage as soon as possible so that he could stand a better chance of surviving in this chaotic world. Only by ensuring his own survival first could he even begin to think about anything else. According to the map, the nearest major city, southward of the Floating Cloud Mountain Range, was Auspicious Cloud City, and it would take around 2 to 3 months to get there. Han Li was constantly keeping tabs on his surroundings while flying onward, and it didn't take long before he emerged from the Floating Cloud Mountain Range. Up to this point, he hadn't encountered any trouble, and he heaved an internal sigh of relief as he summoned his green jade flying carriage before continuing his journey. Close to a month flew by in the blink of an eye. At this moment, Han Li was seated on the flying carriage with a small golden lock hovering in mid-air before him, and it was giving off radiant golden light alongside bursts of time law power fluctuations. He was making a series of hand seals to cast a string of incantation seals into the lock, refining it while also carefully assessing the time law powers imbued within it. Some time later, a hint of enlightenment flashed through his eyes, and the lock fell into his grasp at his behest. He hadn't completed the refinement process yet, but he had gotten a good grasp of the time law powers that it contained. It was a type of restrictive law powers, similar to that of the mantra treasured axis. Furthermore, the lock contained far more law powers than even the previous 3 immortal treasures combined. The lock would most likely be able to yield quite a large number of time law threads. But given how powerful it was, Han Li was rather reluctant to part with it. Let's just wait and see for now. It's not like I'm in any hurry anyway. With that in mind, Han Li opened his mouth to release a burst of golden light, which enveloped the lock before drawing it into his body to continue the refinement process. After that, he flipped a hand over to produce a jade slip, which contained a map of the Black Mountain Immortal region. Up to this point, he hadn't detected anyone following him, and that was why he felt like it was safe to bring out the golden lock. Below the flying carriage was an undulating mountain range that was entirely pitch black in color, and the mountain range was also enshrouded in a cloud of black mist, presenting a rather peculiar sight to behold. Most of the mountain ranges that Han Li had passed by on the way here were of the same color, and that was probably why this place was called the Black Mountain Immortal region. Han Li withdrew his gaze from the strange black mountain range, then pressed the jade slip against his own forehead. The Floating Cloud Mountain Range and Jade Gathering City were both situated in the northernmost region of the Black Mountain Immortal region, close to the primordial land. And it was said that Jade Gathering City had been constructed on a massive plot of land that the Heavenly Court had managed to secure tens of millions of years ago, following a huge battle against the fierce beasts of the primordial land. It was a similar story for most other immortal regions. Whenever human cultivators managed to expand their territory into the primordial land, a major city like Jade Gathering City would be constructed, and that would act as a foundation for further expansion, eventually resulting in the formation of an entire immortal region. Sightings of primordial beasts were quite infrequent near Jade Gathering City, but that didn't mean that it was a safe place. To the south of Jade Gathering City was a rather barren area that was filled with mountain ranges and forests. But this area was actually far safer than the city, and many mortal cities and nations were constructed there. The flying carriage quickly flew over the Blackmack mountain range down below, and a massive river appeared up ahead. The river was close to 500 kilometers wide, and there were massive waves churning over its surface, as if there were an enormous worm wreaking havoc within the depths, presenting a spectacular sight to behold. According to the map, this river was called the Black Pine River, and further up ahead was a mortal nation by the name of the Prosperous Origin Nation. Right at this moment, something suddenly caught his attention, and he turned to the side with purple light flashing in his eyes, upon which a hint of surprise quickly appeared on his face. He could sense violent spiritual power fluctuations in the distance in that direction, interspersed with hints of law power fluctuations, indicating that a battle between cultivators of at least the Golden Immortal stage was taking place there. This area had very sparse spiritual chi, and there were only several body integration stage sects in a radius of tens of thousands of kilometers. So why were there Golden Immortals locked in battle here? Han Li made a hand seal to conceal the flying carriage while carefully releasing his spiritual sense in that direction, and all of a sudden, a hesitant look appeared on his face. After some contemplation, he stowed the flying carriage away, then began to fly in that direction as a faint shadow. Shortly thereafter, Han Li descended in front of an enormous col in another black mountain range. Lights of different colors were rising up into the sky from the col that was several hundred kilometers up ahead. And sure enough, a fierce battle was taking place there, with 3 golden-robed cultivators, 2 male and 1 female, attacking a white-haired elderly man. Judging from their attire, the 3 golden-robed cultivators were all heavenly court cultivators, and they were led by an imposing man with a head of yellow hair. Judging from the aura that he was exuding, he was an early high zenith stage immortal envoy, while his companions were both at the late golden immortal stage. As for the white-haired elderly man, he was none other than Immortal Lord Hot Flame. Why is fellow Taoist Hot Flame here? And why is he fighting Heavenly Court cultivators? There was a dense cloud of yellow mist around the yellow-haired man, encompassing the entire surrounding area in a radius of dozens of kilometers, while giving off formidable earth law power fluctuations. The cloud of yellow mist was crashing down in waves upon Immortal Lord Hot Flame at the man's behest, while the other 2 Heavenly Court cultivators were attacking with a pair of giant purple swords that appeared to be a set of extremely formidable twin immortal swords. Their assault was as relentless as it was formidable, and even though Immortal Lord Hot Flame was clearly on the back foot against his 3 assailants, his situation wasn't all that dire. There was a large crimson flag hovering above his head, upon which was embroidered a majestic silver peacock. Thick pillars of fire were erupting out of the flag incessantly, forming a churning sea of flames to ward off the oncoming attacks. However, that flag wasn't the reason why Immortal Lord Hot Flame was able to withstand the attacks from his 3 opponents. Instead, what was truly keeping him in this battle was a ball of radiant golden light that was glowing from his waist. It was an ovular golden mirror that was around a foot in size and quite antiquated in appearance. Bursts of golden ripples were surging out of the mirror, encompassing an area with a radius of several thousand feet around Immortal Lord Hot Flame, and as soon as the attacks from his 3 assailants entered the area encompassed within the golden ripples, they were instantly slowed down by tenfold, allowing Immortal Lord Hot Flame to evade or block them with ease. These golden ripples were giving off formidable time law power fluctuations, and Han Li's pupils instantly contracted slightly upon seeing this. That golden mirror was clearly also a time attribute immortal treasure, and it didn't seem to be inferior to Han Li's golden lock. The yellow-haired man was unable to break through Immortal Lord Hot Flame's defenses, but he remained unfazed as he yelled, Huozuozi, surrender and hand yourself over to us right now! Our heavenly court could use a man of your talents. Waves of yellow mist were surging out of his sleeves before converging toward Immortal Lord Hot Flame from all directions to prevent him from getting away. Meanwhile, the other two Heavenly Court cultivators were also racing through the air around Immortal Lord Hot Flame while raining down bolts of lightning upon him. Who the hell is Huojuozi? I am Immortal Lord Hot Flame, an elder of the Fireleaf sect. Stop trying to frame me. Immortal Lord Hot Flame yelled in a furious voice as he opened his mouth to release a burst of crimson energy into the large flag above his head, then began to chant an incantation. The crimson flag instantly swelled to around twice its original size, and the pillars of flames erupting out of it became several times thicker than before. These fiery pillars fused as one in a flash to form a mountainous crimson sword, which struck the cloud of yellow mist with tremendous power amid the sound of a volcanic eruption. A huge opening was instantly torn into the cloud of mist, and much of it was evaporated by the flames around the giant sword. However, the fiery sword was also slowed down significantly, but the flames around it were still erupting outward with immense power. The yellow-haired man remained completely unfazed, and he sneered, You think a mere golden immortal like yourself can break my yellow sand tent? He made a hand seal as he spoke, and all of the nearby yellow mist instantly began to churn violently, then formed an enormous yellow mountain directly in front of the fiery sword. The giant sword struck the mountain with a resounding boom, and it was instantly stopped cold in its tracks. On top of that, tendrils of yellow were shooting out of the surrounding yellow mist before wrapping themselves around the fiery sword, binding it tightly into place.